this guy who's into sports medicine research, and it's specifically to running and endurance. It doesn't translate over to like jiu-jitsu and fighting. So he said that there's two peaks with the research that they've come out with. There's two peaks in your lifetime that your body takes, and at certain points, and it's age groups. The first one wasn't too surprising because, like, especially in fighting, you see it. You see it in UFC and stuff. It was the age group, I believe it's like 30 to 34. Your body peaks out. It's like, especially with endurance, it hits this peak where you're going to be at your highest endurance pace, especially if you're training for these endurance races and stuff a lot, like you guys do. Can you guess where the next one would be?
I would say probably mid 40s.
I said the same thing, man. It's early to mid 50s.
Wow.
Yeah. He says that all these endurance races, you're starting to see the mid 30s and the early to mid 50-year-olds are killing everybody.
Yeah.
So they found out that there's another peak in your 50s.
That corresponds to kind of like anecdotally to what I see too. I just recently did a big marathon, the Pikes Peak Marathon. Basically, you run up a 14,000-foot peak in Colorado. And the winner is a 35-year-old. And he's unbelievably fast. He runs like a 2:16 or 18 marathon, which is like 5-something minute mile pace. But he's 35, right? So basically what happens is it seems like you have this, like, you're building like an aerobic engine essentially. So like when you're younger, you're a little faster, but as you develop your cardiovascular system, you get into your 30s, it kind of peaks. And then, like you're saying, like there's also these, as you get into like the longer races, like 30 miles plus, like 50 to 100 mile, the older, so like 40s going into 50s, those people tend to do really well in those races. So yeah, it's more about that cardiovascular or aerobic engine. So it makes sense.
It's so weird that it would do it in the 50s because by then people think they're on the downhill, and there's actually there's another uphill, which is comforting.
Yeah. And if you come to Boulder, Colorado, you will get humbled so fast. Like you'll see a 70-year-old like smoke you on a trail every day. Like it's unreal. Vince can probably attest to that too. I mean, when you're in Boulder.
My girlfriend makes a joke. Like I went for a scramble up a mountain and she was nervous. Like I was like, hey, like when have I ever really have you ever seen me, get frazzled or be in like an unstable like spot climbing or scrambling or hiking or like if I run or whatever? And she's like, well, when a trail runner runs by, you fall every time. It's happened like where they're just so fast they come out of nowhere, and I try to get out of their way off path, like on like a steep part of the trail, and I just like just fall.
You're just the awkward guy. You're like, oh!
And they always stop and they're like, are you all right? Like just in their pace, and they're like, you good? And I was like, yeah, I don't know, I lost my footing. And so she's like and I got back from this like big like little journey, and she goes like, did you fall? And I go, no. And she's like, well, that's because there wasn't any trail runners where you were. And I go like, fair.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's an impressive sport that you do, Cody. It's definitely like a different realm, and yeah, I mean it's also a dangerous one. Like it's not just running. You're running on uneven ground and steep terrain often, where if you fall, you're fricking yourself up. I mean, you mess up yourself up if you fall on pavement, but it's like falling on uneven pavement with jagged, pointy.
Yeah, it becomes like a dance, with the mountains. Sometimes it's kind of cool. It's interesting, I guess. Like, but it is also nice to think about like possibly being better as you get older, even though you tend to think like you're like whatever 30s, like your peak physical age is, when it's actually not. If you're in the right sport, like maybe not if you're trying to play in the NFL, but if you're trying to do other stuff, you can pull it off.
Powerlifting peak is high too.
They said it doesn't translate over. It's with endurance, because there's that race. I can't remember the name of it. It's a it's a man versus horse race. Maybe that's what it's called.
Look at horse.
It's I want to say it's in Colorado, because it's over some. The terrain has part to do with it, but they say it's happened 30 years, and 25 out of the 30 years, man has won it. And it's like a 30-mile race, or something like this. And what it just goes to show you, like, our evolution. That's how we used to take down big animals, was because of our endurance. Like we just run them to death. And also I think the terrain has a little bit to do with it. It's hard for a horse to maneuver it, that kind of terrain and stuff. But super interesting, man. I think that's obviously the future. And I'm pretty excited once I got out to see that the rescue swimmer rate moved into working smarter and getting you guys in better shape than with us. It was just do 1,000 push-ups. That's how you get better push.
Yeah, I try to hammer it in. Like I'm trying to get pretty scientific with the students that I'm trying to coach and like the programs. Like I'm trying to build that aerobic engine because even when 2012, 2013 when I was going through, it wasn't really like that. Like you didn't know about your aerobic engine and like zone 1 through 5 heart rate. You were just doing workouts. But I'm trying to if you're smart about it, you can really efficiently train and be way healthier, over the long period.
You can.
So
What they had us do in summer school is redline your engine. And It just stayed redline. Whereas they're finding out you can actually go farther more efficiently if you're just stay down in this green zone, Yep. They never did that with us. And that's the same thing. Jiu-jitsu's taking that, mixed martial arts. The NFL and the NBA, all those guys do it.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing cryo before everyone. They found out, cryo is an old thing. Compared to the NBA and NFL, and people are just now really starting to get into it. There's way more scientific ways, and I wish that I think I would have avoided a lot more injuries if I would have gotten into that a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Hell, we had a foam rolling class in my rescue swimmer program. This was real. It was awesome. Yeah.
Best day ever.
Yeah, it was. Actually, it was the worst day ever. I'd never done it before, and it hurts when you first do it.
I've got all kinds of that stuff. I've got